Have you ever wondered why some people seem to rise above every financial storm, while others live in a constant cycle of debt, pressure, and regret? It's not luck. It's not privilege. It's decision, backed by knowledge. This book is not just about money. It's about freedom. It's about power. It's about ownership of your income, your assets, your time, and ultimately, your life. In a world drowning in consumerism, credit traps, and fake lifestyles, Own or Owe will shake your mindset, wake up your instincts, and challenge you to make the shift that most people never do. From being owned by your expenses to owning your future. This is not theory. This is real talk from the ground up. Straight, practical, and purpose-driven. Whether you're a salary earner, business owner, student, or hustler on a mission, the principles in this book will equip you to take control and stay in control. By the time you flip the last page, you won't just think differently. You will act differently, and that difference will show in your bank account, in your decisions, in your peace of mind. Because in the end, life doesn't wait. You either own your path or you keep owing your past. The choice is yours. Chapter 1: The Ownership Mindset, where financial freedom begins. Welcome. If you've picked up this book, chances are you're feeling a pull, a quiet yearning for something more than the financial tightrope walk that has become the norm for so many. Perhaps you're tired of the constant juggle, the feeling that no matter how hard you work, you're always just a little behind. Maybe the monthly statements bring a familiar pang of anxiety, or the thought of an unexpected expense sends a shiver down your spine. Whatever brought you here, know this. You've taken the crucial first step. You've acknowledged that something needs to change, and that acknowledgement is the bedrock upon which true financial freedom is built. For too long, the narrative around money has been twisted, distorted by a culture that glorifies consumption and normalizes debt. We are constantly bombarded with messages suggesting that happiness can be bought, that instant gratification is a right, and that the path to a fulfilling life is paved with loans and credit. This insidious conditioning begins early, subtly shaping our desires and expectations. We see our friends driving new cars they can't truly afford, living in homes beyond their means, and vacationing in exotic locales on borrowed money. And without even realizing it, we begin to internalize the dangerous notion that this is how life is meant to be lived, perpetually chasing the next acquisition, funded by a seemingly endless supply of credit. But here's the truth, a truth that might sting a little, but is absolutely essential to grasp. Every time you borrow, you are giving away a piece of your future. You are trading your potential for growth, your peace of mind, and ultimately your freedom for something you desire now. This isn't just a financial transaction, it's a profound psychological one. When you are beholden to creditors, when a significant portion of your income is already spoken for before it even hits your bank account, you are not truly free. You are, in essence, an indentured servant to your past purchases, a prisoner of your own choices. Let's unpack this. Imagine a young couple filled with the optimism of new beginnings. They decide to furnish their first apartment, eager to make it a home. They walk into a furniture store, dazzled by the gleaming showrooms, the plush sofas, the elegant dining sets. The salesperson, with a disarming smile, offers them an easy financing plan, no payments for 6 months. It sounds wonderful, a chance to have everything they want without the immediate financial strain. They sign on the dotted line, feeling a thrill of excitement. The furniture arrives, and for a short while their apartment feels perfect. But 6 months pass, as they always do. The introductory period ends, and suddenly, those low monthly payments begin. And then an unexpected car repair pops up, or perhaps one of them loses a few hours at work. Suddenly, the easy payments feel less easy, more like a tightening vice. They start putting groceries on a credit card just to make ends meet. The credit card balance creeps up, and the minimum payment grows. Before they know it, they're paying interest on furniture they bought months ago and interest on the groceries they ate last week. The initial excitement has faded, replaced by a low hum of anxiety. The furniture, once a symbol of their new life, now feels like a heavy anchor dragging them down. This isn't just a hypothetical scenario, it's the lived reality for millions. The psychological toll of living in debt is immense, yet often underestimated. It manifests as a pervasive sense of stress, a feeling of being perpetually behind the curve. There's the constant mental calculation, the balancing act of figuring out which bill to pay first, which one can slide for a few more days. Sleep can become elusive, dreams are put on hold, and the joy in simple pleasures diminishes. The freedom to take a calculated risk, to pursue a passion project, or even just to breathe easy, is severely curtailed. Debt doesn't just drain your bank account, it drains your spirit. Consider the insidious nature of consumer debt. It promises instant gratification, a shortcut to owning things that would otherwise require patience and disciplined saving. Want that new smartphone, credit card, that trendy new outfit, store credit, that exotic vacation, personal loan? The advertising machine works tirelessly to convince us that these items are essential for our happiness, our social standing, our very identity. And so we dive headfirst into a pool of debt, often without truly understanding the depth of the commitment we're making. The problem is, most of these purchases are liabilities. They depreciate in value the moment you acquire them. That new car driven off the lot immediately loses a significant chunk of its worth. The trendy clothes go out of style. The vacation memories fade. Yet the debt remains a stubborn ghost of past consumption, demanding its tribute month after month. You're not building wealth, you're eroding it. You're not gaining assets, you're accumulating obligations. This cycle is particularly vicious because it's so easy to fall into. The credit card companies, the lenders, they are not your friends. Their business model thrives on your debt. They make it incredibly easy to borrow, to extend credit lines, to offer tantalizing deals that are anything but. They understand human psychology better than most, exploiting our desire for instant gratification and our fear of missing out. They know that a small minimum payment feels manageable at first, even as the interest accrues silently, diligently, turning a seemingly small purchase into a much larger burden over time. Think about the good debt myth. We're often told that certain types of debt are acceptable, even beneficial. Mortgages for homes, student loans for education, and even some business loans are frequently categorized this way. And in theory, yes, these can be tools for building long-term wealth or increasing earning potential. A home, historically, has been an appreciating asset. An education can lead to higher-paying careers. A well-structured business loan can fuel growth, but even good debt can be misused, transforming into a corrosive force rather than a constructive one. A mortgage that's too large for your income, coupled with rising interest rates, can quickly become a suffocating burden, trapping you in a house you technically own but are constantly struggling to afford. Student loans, while investing in your future, can become an overwhelming weight if the degree doesn't translate into a commensurate earning potential, or if the initial debt load is simply too high. I once knew a young man, let's call him Mark, who was incredibly bright and ambitious. He dreamed of becoming a doctor. To pursue his dream, he took out substantial student loans. He worked hard, excelled in medical school, and eventually became a successful physician. By all accounts, he was living the dream. However, the sheer volume of his student debt, coupled with the immediate desire to live the lifestyle he felt he had earned, meant he started his career deep in the red. He bought a large house, leased an expensive car, and began accruing more debt on credit cards to keep up with his new social circle. Despite a six-figure income, Mark found himself constantly stressed about money. Every decision, from where to live to where to vacation, was filtered through the lens of his immense debt. He was technically owning a lot of things, a house, a car, fancy clothes, but he didn't truly own his financial future. His debt dictated his choices, limited his freedom, and cast a long shadow over his hard-earned success. He was financially powerful, yet psychologically trapped. This illustrates a critical point. Debt, regardless of its initial good or bad label, fundamentally delays true ownership. When you borrow to buy a house, you don't truly own that house until the mortgage is paid off. The bank holds the title, and you are essentially renting from them, with the hope that one day it will be yours free and clear. Similarly, with a car loan, the finance company owns a piece of your vehicle until the final payment is made. This might seem like semantics, but it's a crucial distinction. True ownership means having full control, no strings attached, no obligations to anyone else regarding that asset. The pervasive nature of debt in our society has normalized what should be a warning sign. We hear people casually discuss their car payments, their credit card balances, their student loans, as if these are simply unavoidable facts of life. And while some debt, like a carefully considered mortgage, can be a strategic tool, the casual acceptance of all debt, particularly for depreciating assets and fleeting consumer goods, is a profound misunderstanding of how wealth is truly built. Wealth isn't built by acquiring liabilities. It's built by acquiring assets, by accumulating things that appreciate in value, generate income, or reduce your expenses. It's built by saving, by investing, by strategically deploying your capital in ways that grow your net worth, not shrink it. And debt, especially high-interest consumer debt, is the ultimate silent killer of wealth creation. Every dollar you spend on interest payments is a dollar that cannot be saved, invested, or used to acquire a truly valuable asset. It's a dollar that works against you instead of for you. Think of it like this. Imagine your income is a flowing river. Each month your paycheck fills that river. But if you have debt, there are dam walls built across that river, siphoning off a significant portion of the water before it can reach the vast ocean of your financial future. The higher the debt, the more formidable those dam walls, the less water flows freely. You might be working incredibly hard to increase the flow of your river, but if those dams are constantly draining it, you'll never feel truly abundant. You'll always be trying to catch up, running on a hamster wheel, expending tremendous energy just to stay in place. This concept of ownership extends beyond just material possessions. It's about owning your choices, your time, and your future. When you are debt-free, or at least strategically minimizing your debt, you gain an incredible amount of leverage in your life. You have the flexibility to pursue opportunities that might not offer immediate financial rewards, but could lead to immense personal satisfaction or long-term growth. You have the resilience to weather unexpected storms without spiraling into crisis. You have the peace of mind that comes from knowing you are not beholden to anyone, that your financial destiny is truly in your own hands. Consider the story of Sarah. Sarah had always been a diligent saver, but like many, she carried a significant amount of student loan debt from her undergraduate and graduate degrees. She worked in a good job, but felt constrained by the monthly payments. One day, a unique opportunity arose, a chance to take a sabbatical and volunteer for a nonprofit organization in a developing country, working on a project she was deeply passionate about. The experience would be invaluable, enriching, but it paid almost nothing. For someone with significant debt, this kind of opportunity would be a non-starter. The financial pressure would simply be too great. But Sarah, over several years, had made it her mission to aggressively pay down her student loans, sacrificing short-term luxuries for long-term freedom. By the time the opportunity arose, her debt was negligible. She was able to take the sabbatical, an experience that not only transformed her perspective, but also opened doors to new career paths she hadn't even considered. Her reduced debt load didn't just save her money, it gave her the freedom to say yes to an unconventional, life-changing opportunity that others, burdened by debt, could only dream of. This is the essence of the ownership mindset. It's not about deprivation, it's about strategic sacrifice for a richer, more expansive future. It's about understanding that every dollar you borrow for something that doesn't genuinely add long-term value is a dollar that pushes your true freedom further away. It's about recognizing the psychological shackles that debt imposes and actively working to break free from them. The journey to financial ownership begins with a radical shift in perspective. It means challenging the prevailing consumerist narrative that whispers promises of instant gratification and encourages borrowing. It means looking at every potential purchase, every loan with a critical eye, asking yourself, is this truly an investment in my future? Or is it a momentary pleasure that will create a lasting obligation? Am I borrowing because I truly need this, or because I feel I deserve it, or because everyone else has it? It's about recognizing the subtle yet powerful ways debt chips away at your ability to build wealth. It's the interest payments that compound not for you, but against you. It's the missed opportunities to invest in assets that grow. It's the mental energy consumed by financial stress, energy that could be directed towards creative pursuits, personal development, or simply enjoying your life. This chapter is a call to arms, a fundamental reevaluation of your relationship with money and, more specifically, with debt. It's an invitation to confront the reality of how borrowing, particularly for liabilities and emotional reasons, has shaped your financial present and dictates your financial future. It's about peeling back the layers of societal conditioning and acknowledging the profound impact of living in debt, not just on your bank balance, but on your peace of mind, your choices, and your ultimate freedom. The path ahead in this book will guide you, step by step, towards a life where you own your financial destiny, rather than owing it. But before we delve into the practical strategies and tools, it is imperative that you internalize this foundational truth. True financial freedom begins not when you earn more, but when you stop being a slave to what you owe and start cultivating a mindset of ownership. It begins when you recognize that every decision to borrow is a decision to defer your freedom, and every decision to live within your means, to save and to invest, is a decision to bring that freedom closer. Are you ready to reclaim your future? Are you ready to own, not owe? The journey starts now. Chapter 2. The hidden cost of owing, why debt is not just numbers. In the previous chapter, we began to explore the profound concept of the ownership mindset, how thinking like an owner, rather than a perpetual borrower, is the foundational shift required for true financial freedom. We touched upon how borrowing, especially for liabilities, silently chips away at your future. Now it's time to delve deeper, to pull back the curtain on something far more insidious than mere interest rates and payment schedules, the hidden cost of owing. This isn't just about the numbers on a statement, the percentages that seem to fluctuate, or the minimum payments that feel manageable enough. No, the true cost of owing is etched into your spirit, woven into the fabric of your daily life, and silently dictates your choices in ways you might not even perceive. It's an emotional and psychological burden, a quiet thief of peace, and a relentless limiter of your potential. Think for a moment about a weight you might carry, not on your shoulders, but in your mind. It's an invisible burden, yet its presence is undeniable. Perhaps it's a low hum of anxiety that accompanies the arrival of the mail, or the subtle clenching in your stomach when your phone buzzes with a notification from your bank. Maybe it's the way you hesitate before saying yes to a spontaneous outing with friends, not because you don't want to, but because you're already mentally calculating if you can afford it, knowing full well that afford often means put on the card. This, my friend, is the unseen shadow of debt. I remember a conversation with a woman named Maria, a bright, energetic professional in her late 30s. On the surface, Maria seemed to have it all: a good job, a nice apartment, a vibrant social life. But beneath the surface, she was crumbling. She confided in me, her voice barely a whisper, about the credit card debt that had spiraled out of control after a series of unexpected medical bills and a period of unemployment. "It's not even the amount that scares me the most," she admitted. "It's the constant feeling of it. It's like I'm always looking over my shoulder. I can't relax. I can't plan. Every decision, from buying coffee to visiting my family, feels loaded with guilt. I feel like a fraud, pretending everything is fine when inside I'm terrified." Maria's experience is not unique. This is the insidious power of debt. It steals your peace of mind. It cultivates a pervasive sense of fear. Fear of the unexpected, fear of failure, fear of judgment. It erodes confidence, making you doubt your ability to manage your life, even if you're excelling in other areas. It narrows your vision, forcing your focus onto the immediate, the urgent, the monthly payment, rather than the expansive possibilities of a future you could be building. One of the most profound ways debt impacts us is by renting our future income. Imagine your future self, years from now, working diligently, earning money. Now imagine that a significant portion of that future income is already earmarked, already obligated to pay for decisions made today. That new car you financed, your future self is paying for it, long after the new car smell has faded. That vacation you put on a credit card, your future self is still working to cover the interest on those memories. It's as if you've signed a contract with your future self, agreeing to pay them a reduced wage for their labor because you've already spent their earnings. This isn't just a metaphor, it's a stark reality. Every monthly payment for a loan or credit card is a piece of your future income that is no longer yours to command. It's money that cannot be saved, invested, or used to pursue new opportunities. It's money that cannot be directed towards building genuine wealth. Instead, it flows out, a constant drain, diminishing your capacity to truly build a life of your own design. You're effectively working for your creditors, not for yourself. This fundamental truth is often obscured by the ease of borrowing, the seemingly small monthly payments, and the societal narrative that encourages us to buy now, pay later. This constant obligation also means that debt keeps you reactive instead of proactive. When you're living under the weight of significant debt, your financial life becomes a series of reactions. A bill arrives, you react. An unexpected expense pops up, you react, often by putting it on another credit card, digging yourself deeper. There's little room for proactive planning, for thoughtfully setting aside money for future goals, for strategically investing in your growth. Your energy is consumed by putting out fires, by juggling due dates, by trying to keep your head above water. True financial freedom, by contrast, is about being proactive. It's about consciously directing your money where you want it to go, not where it has to go. It's about setting long-term goals and systematically working towards them. But when your income is already spoken for by past decisions, your ability to be proactive is severely hampered. You're always playing defense, never offense. You're running on a treadmill, expending energy just to stay in place, rather than moving forward. Furthermore, debt destroys long-term thinking. When you're caught in the cycle of owing, your financial horizon shrinks dramatically. It becomes incredibly difficult to think beyond the next paycheck, the next minimum payment, the next crisis. How can you plan for retirement when you're worried about making rent next month? How can you save for your child's education when the credit card bill is looming? The mental bandwidth required to manage debt leaves little room for envisioning and planning for a distant future. This short-term focus is a trap. Wealth is built over time through consistent saving, smart investing, and the power of compounding. But compounding works in reverse with debt. The interest on your debt compounds against you, growing the burden faster than you can pay it down, especially if you're only making minimum payments. This short-sightedness, forced upon you by the immediate demands of debt, is one of its most damaging hidden costs. It robs you of the ability to leverage time, the most powerful asset in wealth creation. Perhaps the cruelest trick debt plays is that it creates an illusion of wealth while promoting financial slavery. Our society often equates possessions with success. The big house, the luxury car, the designer clothes, the exotic vacations, these are presented as markers of achievement. And debt offers a shortcut to acquiring these markers, even if you haven't truly earned them. You can look wealthy, you can appear successful, all while being deeply indebted. This is the ultimate deception. You might drive a car that costs more than your annual salary, but if the bank owns most of it, you're not wealthy. You're simply paying a high rental fee. You might live in a grand house, but if the mortgage consumes half your income, you're not truly free. You're a prisoner in a gilded cage. This illusion is incredibly dangerous because it prevents people from confronting their true financial reality. They believe they are doing well because they have acquired certain things, when in fact they are digging themselves deeper into a hole of obligation. They are financially enslaved by the very things they believe signify their freedom. I recall a conversation with a former colleague, David. David was always impeccably dressed, drove a new car every few years, and took impressive vacations. He seemed to embody success. Yet behind the polished exterior, David was constantly stressed. He worked long hours, took on extra projects, and rarely seemed to enjoy his time off. One day, over a quiet lunch, he confessed, "I'm drowning. Every cent I earn goes out the door. The car payment, the mortgage, the credit card, it's never enough. I feel like I'm working just to pay for my past self's choices. I can't quit. I can't even take a risk on a new opportunity because I have too many payments to make. I'm trapped." David had created an illusion of wealth, but in reality he was a slave to his monthly obligations. He was the epitome of someone who looked successful but was profoundly unfree. This is the silent social pressure we all face. The pressure to keep up, to conform, to display a certain level of affluence, even if it means borrowing to achieve it. Payday loans, with their exorbitant interest rates, prey on desperation, trapping individuals in a cycle of short-term relief followed by long-term agony. Credit card companies entice us with 0% APRs, knowing full well that many will fail to pay off the balance before the high interest kicks in. Car dealerships push long-term loans, making expensive vehicles seem affordable by stretching payments over 6 or 7 years, ensuring you're upside down on your loan long before you pay it off. These aren't just financial products, they are psychological levers designed to keep you in a state of perpetual owing. The generational impact of this mindset is also profound. Children observe their parents' relationship with money. If they constantly see parents stressed about bills, using credit cards for everyday expenses, or discussing loans as the only way to acquire things, they internalize these patterns. The borrow-to-survive mentality can be passed down not as a deliberate lesson, but as an unspoken truth about how life is lived. Breaking this cycle requires a conscious, deliberate effort to change not just financial habits, but the underlying mindset. So how do we begin to break free from this invisible burden? The first and arguably most crucial step is awareness. It's about truly seeing debt for what it is. Not just a necessary evil, not just a tool, but a form of bondage. It's about understanding that the numbers on your statement are merely a symptom of a deeper psychological and emotional entanglement. This awareness is not meant to shame you. We have all at some point been caught in this trap, influenced by societal norms and our own desires for instant gratification. The purpose here is to awaken you, to help you recognize the true weight you might be carrying, and to understand how it limits your choices, stifles your dreams, and diminishes your peace. The good news, the truly liberating news, is that this bondage can be broken. Once you recognize the chains, you can begin the process of unlinking them. The journey to financial freedom doesn't start with a budget or an investment strategy. Those are tools. It starts here with this profound realization that owing is a state of being, not just a state of your bank account. It starts with the understanding that you deserve more than a life dictated by past obligations. Your future is not meant to be rented out to your past. Your income is not meant to be perpetually siphoned off by interest payments. Your peace of mind is not meant to be constantly eroded by financial anxiety. The power to change this lies within you, in your willingness to confront the hidden costs of owing and to commit to a different path. This awareness is the first brave step towards reclaiming your future, one where you truly own your life rather than owing it. Chapter 3: Income versus Ownership: Why High Earners Still Stay Broke. In our last chapter, we confronted the invisible burden of debt, peeling back the layers to reveal how owing isn't just about numbers, but about the profound emotional and psychological toll it takes. We began to understand that true freedom is elusive when your future income is already rented out to your past choices. Now let's pivot to another critical, often misunderstood aspect of financial well-being: the relationship between income and ownership. This is where many, perhaps even you, might find yourselves caught in a subtle yet powerful trap. It's a common misconception, isn't it? The belief that if you just earn enough, all your financial worries will magically disappear. We see it played out in countless stories: the young professional who lands a six-figure salary, the entrepreneur whose business takes off, the athlete who signs a multi-million-dollar contract. The assumption is that with such a significant income, wealth is inevitable, financial freedom a given. Yet the stark reality often tells a different tale. Many high earners, despite impressive paychecks, find themselves perpetually broke, living paycheck to paycheck, or even worse, drowning in debt. How can this be? How can someone earning $250,000 a year feel the same financial squeeze as someone earning a fraction of that? The answer lies in a fundamental misunderstanding, a crucial distinction between income and ownership. Income is the flow of money into your life. It's what you earn from your job, your business, your investments. Ownership, on the other hand, is what you keep and grow. It's the accumulation of assets that work for you, generating more income, appreciating in value, or providing lasting security. The illusion of income is a powerful one. We tend to confuse a large cash flow with financial strength. We see the big numbers on a salary slip or a business profit report and assume that abundance naturally follows. But income by itself is merely potential. It's like a powerful river. If that river flows directly into a vast empty desert, it will evaporate without leaving a trace. But if that river is channeled, if its waters are used to irrigate fertile land, to fill reservoirs, or to power turbines, then it creates lasting value and abundance. Think of the countless stories of celebrities who, despite earning astronomical sums, ended up bankrupt. From professional athletes to music icons, the headlines are littered with examples of individuals who made millions, only to lose it all. Why? Not because they didn't earn enough, but because they failed to transition from earning to owning. They confused a temporary surge of cash flow with enduring wealth. They spent lavishly on liabilities, sprawling mansions, fleets of luxury cars, extravagant lifestyles, without building a solid foundation of assets that could sustain them beyond their peak earning years. Their income was a gushing faucet, but their wealth bucket had a massive hole in the bottom. This isn't just a phenomenon reserved for the rich and famous. It plays out every day in the lives of ordinary people. I've seen it repeatedly with professionals, doctors, lawyers, engineers, tech executives. They climb the corporate ladder, their salaries steadily increasing, crossing into six-figure territory. And yet many of them are still stressed about money. They worry about unexpected expenses, they carry significant credit card balances, and they feel trapped in their jobs, unable to take a risk or pursue a passion because they have too many bills to pay. Why? Because as their income rises, so too does their lifestyle. This is the insidious trap of lifestyle inflation. The bigger paycheck arrives, and suddenly the old car isn't quite good enough. The small apartment feels cramped, and the budget for dining out or vacations expands exponentially. The new income isn't channeled into building assets. It's immediately consumed by an upgraded lifestyle. They move into a bigger house with a bigger mortgage, lease a more expensive car with a larger payment, and fill their lives with more stuff that depreciates in value the moment it's acquired. They are renting a lifestyle, not building lasting wealth. They are earning big, but they are still broke because they are consuming instead of accumulating. Let's draw a vivid contrast. Imagine two individuals. There's Alex, who drives a brand new, gleaming luxury car. He lives in a fashionable, upscale apartment in the city center. His social media feed is a curated gallery of exotic vacations, gourmet meals, and designer clothes. From the outside, Alex appears incredibly successful, the epitome of someone who has made it. He earns a high six-figure salary in a demanding corporate job. Yet Alex rents his apartment, and that luxury car is leased. His credit cards carry significant balances from funding his impressive lifestyle. He has little to no savings, and his investments are minimal. He's constantly worried about job security because if his income stream stops, his entire carefully constructed facade crumbles. He is earning a lot, but he owns almost nothing. Now consider Sarah. Sarah drives an older, reliable, paid-off sedan. She lives in a modest house in a quiet neighborhood which she owns outright. Her social media is less about flashy displays and more about her gardening projects, her community involvement, and her quiet weekends with family. Sarah earns a comfortable but not extravagant salary as a teacher. However, Sarah has systematically invested her money over the years. She owns her home free and clear, has a substantial investment portfolio, and has even purchased a small rental property that generates passive income. She doesn't have the flashy outward signs of wealth that Alex does, but she has something far more valuable: true financial security and freedom. She is earning a good income, and she is consistently building ownership. Who is truly wealthier? Alex, with his high income and rented lifestyle, or Sarah with her moderate income and growing portfolio of owned assets? The answer is clear. Sarah, despite earning less, is building lasting wealth, while Alex is caught in a perpetual cycle of consumption, his high income merely fueling a treadmill of payments. This highlights the crucial difference between spending versus building. Every dollar you earn presents a choice: to spend it on something that provides temporary gratification and then disappears, a liability, or to use it to build something that will generate future value, an asset. The high earner who consistently chooses spending over building will always remain financially fragile. The person who consistently chooses building, even with a smaller income, will steadily accumulate wealth. This also brings us to temporary wealth versus lasting wealth. Income, particularly from a job, is often temporary. It can fluctuate or it can disappear entirely due to layoffs, economic downturns, or health issues. Lasting wealth, however, is built on assets that continue to generate value regardless of your immediate income stream. A portfolio of stocks, a rental property, a successful business, intellectual property, these are sources of lasting wealth. They provide a foundation that can sustain you through lean times and accelerate your progress during prosperous ones. So what are the cultural and psychological traps that keep high earners, and indeed many others, stuck in this cycle? Firstly, there's the pervasive social media pressure. We are constantly bombarded with curated images of the good life: vacations, luxury goods, perfect homes. It's easy to fall into the trap of comparing our behind-the-scenes reality with someone else's highlight reel. This fuels a powerful fear of missing out, FOMO, driving us to spend money we don't have on experiences or items we don't truly need, just to feel like we belong or are successful by societal standards. The desire to project an image of success often overrides the quiet, disciplined work required to achieve real success. Then there are poor financial habits, often ingrained from childhood or developed in response to easy access to credit. If you never learn to budget, to save consistently, or to delay gratification, a high income can simply magnify these existing weaknesses. It's like pouring more fuel onto a fire that's already burning your resources. The problem isn't the amount of fuel, it's the lack of a proper container to hold it. And finally, there's the deeply ingrained belief that income equals success. This is perhaps the most dangerous trap of all. We are taught to chase the biggest paycheck, to strive for the highest paying jobs. While earning a good income is certainly desirable and provides more options, it is not, in itself, the definition of financial success. True success in the context of wealth is about financial independence, security, and the freedom to live life on your own terms. And that freedom comes from owning, not just earning. The shift required is profound, moving from an income-first mentality to an ownership-first mentality. It means understanding that your salary, no matter how impressive, is merely a tool. Its true power is unlocked when you use it to acquire assets, to build something tangible and enduring, rather than letting it be consumed by fleeting desires and depreciating liabilities. Consider the person who earns a modest income but consistently invests in a diversified stock portfolio. Over decades, the power of compounding will likely turn those consistent smaller contributions into a significant sum, far outstripping the high earner who spends every cent. Or think of the individual who, instead of upgrading their car every 3 years, uses that potential car payment to buy a small piece of land or invest in a side business. That land might appreciate, that business might grow, creating new income streams and lasting wealth, while the new car simply loses value. This is the power of ownership. It's the difference between being a tenant in your own life, constantly paying rent to others, and being the landlord, collecting rent and building equity. It's the difference between being a consumer, constantly depleting resources, and being a creator, constantly building value. The weight of owing is heavy, as we discussed, but the illusion of income can be just as stifling, keeping you on a treadmill, perpetually chasing the next dollar without ever truly getting ahead. It's a subtle form of financial slavery, where you're working hard, but the fruits of your labor are constantly being consumed, leaving you with little to show for it in terms of lasting wealth. So as we move forward, let this be your guiding principle. True wealth is not measured by what you earn and spend, but by what you keep and grow. It's not about the size of your paycheck, it's about the size of your asset column. It's about shifting your focus from the fleeting satisfaction of consumption to the enduring power of accumulation. It's about understanding that the path to financial freedom isn't paved with higher salaries alone, but with the deliberate, consistent choice to own, not owe. It's time to stop confusing activity with achievement and to start building a life of true ownership from the inside out. The journey to lasting wealth begins when you make the conscious decision to be an owner, not just a high earner. Chapter 4. From Consumer to Creator, Flipping the Script. We've talked about the ownership mindset, the profound shift from owing to owning, and how even high incomes can leave you financially fragile if you're not building assets. Now it's time to delve into perhaps the most liberating and empowering transformation you can undertake on your journey to true financial freedom, the metamorphosis from a passive consumer into an active creator. This isn't just a financial strategy, it's a profound redefinition of your role in the world, a radical act of reclaiming your power. From the moment we draw our first breath, society begins to condition us. We are born into a world designed to make us consumers. Think about it. Our earliest memories are often tied to acquiring things, toys, clothes, snacks. As we grow, the conditioning intensifies. Advertisements bombard us from every screen, every billboard, every corner of our digital lives, whispering promises of happiness, status, and fulfillment through the act of buying. We are trained to spend, not to produce, to work jobs, not to build enterprises, to follow trends, not to set them. We learn to line up, eagerly awaiting the newest smartphone, convinced that this sleek device holds the key to our connectivity and cool factor. Yet we rarely pause to consider investing in our own ideas, in the very platforms or apps that could one day generate income for us. We spend countless hours scrolling through social media feeds, consuming endless content, watching videos, reading posts, absorbing the creations of others. But how often do we stop to upload a single video of our own, to share a unique perspective, to build a community around our voice? We might spend our weekends browsing malls or online stores, meticulously curating our wardrobes or decorating our homes. But how many of us have ever considered launching a small online store, creating a digital product, starting a blog, or building a brand to our own name? This is the consumer trap, a comfortable, often unconscious existence where we are perpetually on the receiving end. We are the audience, the buyers, the employees, the renters of experiences and products. We are diligently feeding the machine, enriching the creators, the innovators, the entrepreneurs, while often feeling a persistent, nagging emptiness in our own lives, a sense that something fundamental is missing. We are constantly replenishing our lives with external stimuli and material possessions, but we are not building anything lasting within ourselves or for our future. But what if you flip the script? What if you decided to step off the consumer treadmill and onto the path of creation? This is where true power lies. A creator is someone who builds assets, shares ideas, solves problems, or launches products. It's someone who transforms their knowledge, passion, or skill into something tangible, something valuable, something that can serve others and, in turn, serve them. Consider the profound difference. When you are a consumer, you are paying someone else for their ingenuity, their effort, their risk. When you are a creator, others are paying you for yours. This isn't just a financial distinction, it's a fundamental shift in leverage. Creators own the platforms, the intellectual property, the businesses, the solutions. Consumers feed those platforms, use that property, buy from those businesses, and seek those solutions. Think about the simple yet life-changing acts of creation that are accessible to almost anyone today. Perhaps it's a woman who loves crafting and decides to open an Etsy shop, turning a hobby into a source of income and a growing brand. Or a man who has a deep understanding of a niche topic and decides to publish an ebook, sharing his expertise with the world and earning passive income from every sale. Consider the parent who starts a YouTube channel, sharing useful tips for navigating early childhood, building a loyal audience, and eventually generating revenue from ads and sponsorships. These aren't grand Silicon Valley-style startups. They are everyday acts of creation that fundamentally alter one's financial trajectory and sense of purpose. The shift from "what can I buy next" to "what can I build next" is the hallmark of the ownership mindset in action. It's a powerful reorientation of your energy, your time, and your mental resources. Instead of passively absorbing, you are actively producing. Instead of seeking entertainment, you are seeking empowerment. Instead of being a spectator, you become a player. This transformation requires several critical mindset shifts. First, the shift from entertainment to empowerment. For many, leisure time is synonymous with consumption. Binge-watching shows, endless social media scrolling, playing video games. While relaxation is vital, an exclusive focus on entertainment can become a drain on your creative energy and time. The creator, by contrast, seeks empowerment. They see their free time not just as an opportunity to escape, but as an opportunity to learn, to experiment, to build. They might spend an hour learning a new skill online, outlining an idea for a project, or working on a side hustle. This isn't to say entertainment is bad, but rather that a conscious balance leaning towards activities that empower you is crucial. Second, the shift from passivity to productivity. The consumer mindset often fosters passivity. We wait for others to create the products, the services, the content we desire. We are reactive, responding to what is presented to us. The creator, however, embodies productivity. They are proactive, identifying needs, envisioning solutions, and bringing new things into existence. This means taking initiative, embracing discomfort, and moving from intention to action. It's about recognizing that your ideas, your skills, your unique perspective have value, and that value is unlocked not by keeping it to yourself, but by putting it out into the world. Third, the shift from scrolling to scaling. The endless scroll of social media, news feeds, and online shopping sites can be a black hole for time and attention. It keeps you in a state of perpetual consumption, a passive observer of others' lives and creations. The creator, however, thinks about scaling. They consider how their efforts can be leveraged, how their creations can reach more people, how their impact can grow beyond a one-to-one exchange. This might mean automating parts of a business, building a community, or creating digital products that can be sold repeatedly without additional effort. It's about building systems that work for you, rather than constantly trading your time for money. Finally, the shift from audience to authority. When you are primarily a consumer, you are part of the audience. You are influenced by trends, by marketing, by the opinions of others. You are, in essence, a follower. When you become a creator, you begin to establish your own authority. You become a source of value, a leader in your niche, someone whose voice matters. This builds confidence, credibility, and ultimately influence. It transforms your relationship with the world from one of dependency to one of contribution and leadership. I remember a mentor once telling me, "The world rewards those who build, not just those who buy." This simple truth resonated deeply. Think about the most successful individuals you know, the ones who truly embody financial freedom and impact. They are almost universally creators. They built a business, they wrote a book, they developed a skill that solved a problem, they invested in an idea. They didn't just consume their way to success, they created their way there. Perhaps you're thinking, "But I'm not creative," or "I don't have a big idea." This is a common misconception. Creation isn't just about artistic genius or groundbreaking inventions. It's about identifying a need, however small, and finding a way to meet it. It's about sharing your unique perspective, however niche. It's about taking that first, small step to put something of your own into the world. It could be a simple online course on a skill you've mastered, a local service you can provide, a piece of art you can sell, or even just consistently sharing valuable insights on a platform like LinkedIn or a personal blog. The act of creation itself, however modest, begins to rewire your brain, shifting you from a mindset of scarcity and consumption to one of abundance and production. The beauty of this transformation is that it's not about grand gestures or overnight success. It's about consistent small acts of creation. It's about dedicating a few hours each week to building something, rather than just consuming. It's about channeling your energy, your passion, and your unique talents into something that can grow, something that can serve, something that can eventually generate income and build assets for you. This chapter is your wake-up call, your invitation to step into your power. Look around you. Every product you admire, every app you use, every song you stream, every piece of content that entertains or educates you, someone just like you, with fears and doubts and busy lives, had the courage to create it. They didn't wait for permission, they didn't wait for perfection, they simply started. You are sitting on a gold mine of potential. Your experiences, your knowledge, your unique way of seeing the world, these are all raw materials for creation. Stop sitting on your potential. Stop feeding the consumer beast with your precious time, energy, and money without getting anything truly lasting in return. It's time to flip the script. It's time to transition from being merely a recipient to becoming a source. It's time to move from the endless scroll to the empowering act of building. It's time to stop being just a consumer and to start becoming a creator. Your financial freedom, and indeed your deepest sense of fulfillment, awaits you on this path. The world is waiting for what only you can create. Chapter 5. Renting your life away. The price of temporary comfort. In the journey we've embarked upon, exploring the ownership mindset and the hidden costs of owing, we've begun to dismantle some deeply ingrained beliefs about money and success. We've seen how the illusion of income can trap even high earners, and how the consumer mindset keeps us from building true wealth. Now, it's time to confront another pervasive, yet often subtle, trap. The allure of temporary comfort and the profound price we pay when we choose to rent our lives away. It begins innocently enough, doesn't it? The idea of renting offers an immediate sense of ease, a promise of flexibility, and a seemingly lower barrier to entry. Why commit to a mortgage when you can rent an apartment with less upfront cost and the freedom to move at a moment's notice? Why buy a car when a lease offers a shiny new vehicle every few years with seemingly manageable monthly payments? This mindset extends far beyond just homes and cars. It seeps into our very approach to financial stability, career choices, and even our personal growth. We become accustomed to a life of perpetual payments for things we never truly own, trading long-term gain for short-term ease. Society, in many ways, normalizes and even encourages this renting mentality. Real estate agents might tell you that renting offers flexibility in a volatile market. Car dealerships push leases as the smart way to always drive the latest model. The pervasive buy now, pay later culture, which we discussed in previous chapters, is another facet of this, allowing us to rent the experience of ownership without ever actually acquiring the asset. This constant stream of options that prioritize convenience over commitment can lull us into a comfortable but ultimately precarious existence. Consider the classic example, housing. For many, the decision to rent versus buy is framed purely as a financial calculation based on current market conditions or interest rates. But beneath the numbers lies a deeper psychological reality. When you rent, you are, in essence, paying someone else's mortgage. Every single month, your hard-earned money flows out of your bank account and into your landlord's, contributing to their equity, their asset, their long-term wealth. You gain a roof over your head, certainly, and the convenience of not being responsible for major repairs, but you build no equity, no lasting value, no foundation for your future. I once knew a couple, let's call them Tom and Lisa. They were diligent, hardworking, and always paid their rent on time. For 15 years, they rented a lovely home in a desirable neighborhood, moving twice during that period for job opportunities. They always justified renting by saying it gave them flexibility. When they finally decided to buy a home in their late 40s, they looked back at the cumulative amount they had paid in rent over those 15 years. The number was staggering, well over $250,000. That money, had it been directed towards a mortgage, even with interest, would have built substantial equity, perhaps even paid off a significant portion of a home. Instead, it was simply gone, vanished into the pockets of various landlords. They had rented their comfort, their stability, their sense of home, but they had accumulated nothing of lasting value. The flexibility they enjoyed came at an enormous, invisible cost. This concept extends powerfully to our vehicles. The allure of leasing a car is strong. Lower monthly payments than a purchase, always driving a new model, no worries about resale value or major repairs. It feels like a smart, hassle-free choice. But just like renting a home, leasing a car means you are in a perpetual state of payment without ever building ownership. You are paying for the privilege of driving, but at the end of the lease term, you own nothing. You simply hand the car back and start the cycle all over again, committing to another string of payments. You are renting the experience of a new car year after year, never truly owning the asset or the freedom that comes with a paid-off vehicle. The hidden price tag here is multifaceted. Financially, while the upfront costs of renting or leasing might seem lower, the cumulative cost over time often far exceeds the cost of owning. You miss out on appreciation, on building equity, and on the opportunity to eventually eliminate a significant monthly expense from your budget. Imagine the financial power of redirecting a mortgage payment or car payment into investments once the asset is owned, free and clear. That is the true cost of perpetually renting. It keeps you on a treadmill of payments, preventing you from ever truly getting ahead and building momentum. Beyond the financial, there's a profound psychological and emotional cost. When you rent, there's often a subtle feeling of impermanence, a lack of deep roots. You might hesitate to paint the walls, to plant a garden, or to truly personalize your space because it's not truly yours. This can translate into a broader feeling of being a guest in your own life rather than the owner and architect of it. The pride of ownership, the sense of security that comes from knowing you have a tangible asset is absent. This absence can manifest as a low-level anxiety, a constant awareness that your living situation, your transportation, your very financial stability is dependent on external factors and ongoing payments. This renting your life away mentality also manifests in the insidious trap of living paycheck to paycheck. This is, in essence, renting your financial stability. Every dollar earned is immediately consumed by existing obligations, leaving no buffer, no savings, no room for growth. You are constantly trading your time and energy for a salary that is immediately rented out to your bills, your debts, your immediate needs. There's no surplus to invest, no capital to build, no freedom to take a calculated risk or pursue an opportunity that doesn't offer immediate income. You are perpetually reactive, never proactive, always responding to the demands of the present moment without the luxury of planning for a more secure future. This pattern of avoiding ownership also severely limits your choices and your freedom. When you have significant ongoing payments for things you don't own, your financial optionality shrinks dramatically. Want to take a sabbatical to pursue a passion? Difficult if you have multiple car leases and a high rent payment. Want to change careers and take a temporary pay cut for a more fulfilling role? Nearly impossible if your entire income is already committed to renting your lifestyle. The perceived comfort of a temporary solution becomes a cage, limiting your ability to pivot, to grow, to truly design your life. The generational impact of this mindset is also worth considering. When you consistently rent, you are not building a foundation of assets to pass down, to provide a safety net for future generations, or to create a legacy of financial strength. You are consuming rather than accumulating, and this pattern can inadvertently be passed down, perpetuating a cycle where each generation starts from scratch, without the benefit of accumulated wealth. So how do we break free from this cycle of renting our lives away? The answer lies in a fundamental mindset shift, moving from being a tenant to becoming the landlord of your own life. This isn't just about property, it's about taking radical ownership of all your decisions, your time, your money, your future. It begins with a conscious embrace of delayed gratification. The allure of temporary comfort is powerful because it offers immediate satisfaction. But true ownership requires patience, discipline, and a willingness to forego instant gratification for greater long-term gain. It means saving for a down payment instead of leasing a new car. It means living in a modest home you can afford to own rather than renting a lavish one you can't. It means building an emergency fund so you can own your financial stability rather than renting it from credit cards or payday loans. This shift also demands the courage to commit. Ownership implies commitment to a property, to a vehicle, to a financial plan, to a future vision. It means putting down roots, investing your time and effort, and accepting the responsibilities that come with true possession. This can feel daunting, especially in a world that often celebrates fluidity and non-committal living, but it is precisely this commitment that builds lasting value and provides a profound sense of security and belonging. Start small. Perhaps it's saving diligently for a down payment on a modest home, even if it means living in a smaller space for a few years. Or perhaps it's making the decision to buy a reliable used car outright, freeing yourself from monthly car payments and the perpetual debt cycle of leasing. It could be as simple as building a robust emergency fund so you own your financial peace of mind rather than renting it from a line of credit. This journey from renting to owning your life is not always easy. It requires discipline, foresight, and a willingness to challenge societal norms. You might feel like you're missing out on the latest and greatest that your peers are acquiring through debt or leases. But remember the hidden price tag of that temporary comfort. Remember the freedom, the security, and the lasting wealth that comes from truly owning your assets, your choices, and your future. The ultimate goal is not just to own a house or a car, but to own your life, to be the master of your financial destiny, not a perpetual tenant, to make choices that build lasting value rather than simply consuming temporary comforts. This is the path to true freedom, where every dollar you earn works for you, building your empire rather than flowing out to pay for a life you only temporarily inhabit. Are you ready to stop renting and start owning? The choice and the power is entirely yours. Chapter 6: Credit Culture, the sweet trap that keeps you bound. We've journeyed through the ownership mindset, confronted the hidden costs of owing, and distinguished between the illusion of income and the lasting power of ownership. We've even explored the subtle trap of renting our lives away. Now it's time to shine a bright, unflinching light on the very mechanism that underpins so much of what we've discussed: credit culture. This is the sweet trap, meticulously crafted and endlessly appealing, that keeps countless individuals bound in a cycle of debt and dependency. From the moment we become financially active, we are immersed in a world that not only offers credit, but actively encourages it as the default way of life. The messages are everywhere, subtle yet pervasive. Buy now, pay later. No interest for 12 months. Low monthly payments. Pre-approved for a new credit card. It's a symphony of seduction designed to make borrowing feel not just easy, but smart, responsible, and even empowering. This is how credit culture works its magic. It appeals to our deepest desires, the desire for instant gratification, for status, for comfort, for the ability to keep up with the perceived success of others. It offers a shortcut to acquiring things that might otherwise be out of reach, transforming aspirations into immediate possessions. That new sofa, that dream vacation, that shiny gadget, all seem within grasp thanks to the magic of credit. The pain of payment is deferred, softened by small monthly installments, making the true cost feel distant and manageable. Think about the psychological brilliance behind this. Credit card companies don't just sell you a piece of plastic, they sell you a lifestyle. Their advertisements often feature smiling, carefree people enjoying experiences or possessions that seem attainable only with their card. They tap into our emotions, our aspirations, our fears. They know that if they can get you to swipe that card, the immediate pleasure of the purchase will often outweigh the distant discomfort of the bill. I remember a young woman, Sarah, who was thrilled when she got her first premium credit card. It came with a high limit, promising travel rewards and exclusive perks. She felt a surge of validation, a sense of having arrived. Soon she was using it for everything: dinners out, new clothes, even groceries when her paycheck ran a little thin. The minimum payment seemed so small, almost negligible. She told herself she'd pay it off next month. But next month became the month after, and then the month after that. The balance slowly crept up, and with it, the interest. The initial thrill of the card faded, replaced by a growing knot of anxiety. The perks were overshadowed by the burden of the debt, and the card, once a symbol of her success, became a constant reminder of her financial struggle. This is the hidden, long-term cost of living on borrowed money. It's not just the interest, though. That alone can be staggering. It's the quiet erosion of your future income. Every time you charge something on a credit card, take out a personal loan for a depreciating asset, or use a buy now, pay later service for non-essentials, you are signing away a piece of your future earnings. That future income, which could have been saved, invested, or used to build true wealth, is instead diverted to service past consumption. You are effectively working for your creditors, not for yourself. Consider the common scenario of car loans. The average car loan term has stretched to 60, 72, even 84 months. This makes a more expensive car seem affordable because the monthly payment is spread out over such a long period. But what does that truly mean? It means you are committing to years of payments for an asset that begins to depreciate the moment you drive it off the lot. You might sell the car before you even pay it off, finding yourself upside down on the loan, owing more than the car is worth. Your future income is locked into paying for a rapidly diminishing asset, preventing you from using that money for investments, a down payment on a home, or building a robust emergency fund. This is the very essence of how debt quietly takes ownership of your future income. It's a subtle form of financial indentured servitude. You are working today to pay for yesterday's desires. This leaves you with less discretionary income, less ability to save, and less freedom to make proactive choices about your life. You become reactive, constantly responding to the demands of your creditors rather than proactively building the life you envision. It's crucial to distinguish between the smart, strategic use of credit and being enslaved by it. Credit, used wisely, can be a tool. A mortgage, for example, can be a strategic way to acquire an appreciating asset, building equity over time. A well-managed credit card can help build a credit score, which is necessary for larger financial endeavors like buying a home. Business loans can fuel growth and create jobs. These are instances where credit is used as a lever, a temporary bridge to a larger wealth-building goal. But the moment credit becomes a crutch, a means to fund a lifestyle you can't genuinely afford, or a way to cover basic expenses, it transforms from a tool into a master. When you're carrying a balance on your credit card month after month, paying high interest on consumer goods, or taking out payday loans to make it to your next paycheck, you are no longer using credit strategically, you are being enslaved by it. The sweet trap has sprung, and you are bound. The psychological impact of this bondage is profound. It fosters a sense of helplessness, a feeling that you're constantly running in place. It breeds stress, anxiety, and often shame. People hide their debt from friends, family, and even themselves. They avoid looking at their statements, hoping the problem will simply disappear. This avoidance, this denial, only tightens the chains, preventing them from taking the necessary steps to break free. The normalization of debt in society makes this trap even more potent. We hear people casually discuss their car payments, their credit card balances, their student loans, as if these are simply unavoidable facts of life. This societal acceptance makes it harder to recognize when you've crossed the line from strategic borrowing to financial dependency. It makes it easier to justify one more purchase, one more loan, because everyone else does it. But everyone else isn't living your life, and everyone else isn't responsible for your financial future. Your journey to true ownership requires you to step outside this collective delusion, to challenge the prevailing narrative, and to see credit for what it truly is, a powerful force that can be a valuable servant or a cruel master. Shifting from a borrower's mindset to an ownership mindset is the critical turning point in anyone's financial journey. It means consciously choosing to delay gratification, to save before you spend, to acquire assets that appreciate rather than liabilities that depreciate. It means saying no to the immediate allure of the credit card swipe when you don't have the cash to back it up. It means understanding that true affordability isn't about whether you can make the minimum payment, but whether you can genuinely afford the item without sacrificing your future. This shift isn't easy. It requires discipline, self-awareness, and a willingness to swim against the cultural current. You might feel like you're missing out or that you're not keeping up, but the temporary discomfort of saying no to a new purchase or working diligently to pay down debt pales in comparison to the lasting peace, freedom, and security that comes from being truly debt-free. Open your eyes to the sweet trap. Recognize the subtle ways credit culture tries to bind you. Understand that every time you choose to borrow for consumption, you are giving away a piece of your future freedom, but also know that you have the power to reclaim it. The awareness you are gaining in these chapters is the first, most crucial step. It's the moment you stop being a passive participant in credit culture and start becoming an active architect of your own financial destiny. The chains of debt are not unbreakable. They are forged by choices, and they can be broken by new, empowered choices. Your journey to true ownership begins with this realization and the commitment to live a life where you are the master of your money, not its slave. Chapter 7. Assets that pay you versus liabilities that drain you. We've peeled back the layers of financial illusion, from the subtle grip of the ownership mindset to the hidden costs of debt, and the powerful distinction between earning a high income and truly owning wealth. We've even confronted the allure of renting our lives away, trading long-term freedom for temporary comfort. Now it's time to get down to the brass tacks, to define the very building blocks of financial independence, and to expose the silent drains that keep so many from ever achieving it. This chapter is about learning to clearly differentiate between assets that pay you and liabilities that drain you. This isn't merely an academic exercise in financial terminology. This is the core truth that separates those who build lasting wealth from those who remain perpetually on the financial treadmill, regardless of how much they earn. It's the lens through which every financial decision should be viewed, a fundamental understanding that, once grasped, will transform your relationship with money forever. So let's cut through the jargon and get to the heart of it. What is an asset truly? In its simplest, most powerful form, an asset is anything that puts money in your pocket. Think about that for a moment. It's not just a thing you own, it's a thing that generates income for you. It's a resource that works on your behalf, even when you're not actively working. Imagine a rental property. Every month a tenant pays you rent. That rent is money flowing into your pocket. That property is an asset. Or consider shares in a company that pays regular dividends. Those dividends are money flowing into your pocket. Those shares are an asset, a profitable business you own. Even a small one that generates sales and profits, that's an asset. A book you've written that earns royalties, a course you've created that sells online, a patent you hold that licenses an invention. These are all forms of intellectual property that can put money in your pocket. Even a highly valuable skill you possess, like coding or specialized consulting, can be seen as an asset, as it allows you to generate income efficiently. These are the engines of wealth, the tools that build your financial freedom. Now let's flip the coin. What is a liability? Equally simple. A liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. It's an ongoing expense, an obligation, a drain on your resources. Think about that credit card balance you carry. Every month you make a payment, and a significant portion of that payment is often just interest, money that vanishes without a trace. That credit card debt is a liability, or consider a car loan for a vehicle that depreciates rapidly. Every month you make a payment, plus you pay for insurance, fuel, and maintenance. All of these take money out of your pocket. That car loan is a liability. Even that shiny new gadget you bought on a buy now, pay later plan. It provides temporary enjoyment, but the payments consistently take money out of your pocket until it's paid off, and by then it's likely worth far less than you paid. Here's where the confusion often sets in, and where society plays a powerful trick on our perception. Many people mistake liabilities for assets. They believe they are building wealth when, in reality, they are accumulating drains. The most common culprit? The car. For many, a new car is a symbol of success, a necessary tool for daily life. But if you finance that car, especially over a long term, it becomes a massive liability. Let's say you take out a 5-year loan for a new car. For the next 60 months, a significant chunk of your income is dedicated to a depreciating asset that costs you money in payments, insurance, fuel, and maintenance. That car isn't putting money in your pocket. It's relentlessly taking it out. It's a liability, pure and simple, no matter how much you own it on paper. The true asset in this scenario is the cash you would have had if you hadn't bought the car, or the investment you could have made with that money. Then there's the primary residence. This is a nuanced one. For many, their home is their biggest asset, and it can indeed appreciate in value over time. There's immense emotional value in owning your own home, a sense of stability and belonging. However, from a strict cash flow perspective, if you have a mortgage, property taxes, insurance, and ongoing maintenance costs, your primary residence is consistently taking money out of your pocket every month. It's a place to live, not a source of income. It can become an asset that pays you if you rent out rooms or if you sell it for a profit and reinvest that profit wisely. But as long as it's primarily consuming your cash flow, it functions as a liability in the puts money in versus takes money out equation. The true asset is the equity you build, but the monthly payments are a drain. Society, through clever marketing and pervasive cultural norms, conditions us to pursue status symbols instead of real wealth. We're bombarded with images of success that are often built on a foundation of debt and liabilities. The luxury car, the McMansion, the designer clothes, these are presented as indicators of financial strength, but in reality they are often the very things draining people's finances, keeping them in a state of perpetual struggle, even if they earn a high income. The desire to look rich often prevents people from actually being rich. This is where the mindset shift becomes absolutely crucial. It's about retraining your brain to prioritize income-generating assets. It's about moving from the question, what can I buy next, to what can I acquire that will pay me. It's about transforming your focus from consumption to contribution, from spending to building. Imagine two individuals. There's Mark, who every few years leases a brand new luxury car because he enjoys the feeling of driving the latest model. His monthly lease payments are substantial, and he never truly owns the vehicle. He also lives in a large rented apartment in an expensive part of town, constantly paying a high monthly sum that builds no equity for him. Mark earns a very good salary, but his cash flow is constantly being drained by these liabilities. Then there's Emily. Emily drives a reliable, older car that she bought outright years ago and has no payments on. She lives in a modest, paid-off duplex, one half of which she rents out, generating a steady stream of income. With the money Mark spends on his car lease and high rent, Emily consistently invests in a diversified portfolio of dividend-paying stocks and acquires small pieces of intellectual property, like online courses she creates and sells. Emily's income from her job is comfortable, but not as high as Mark's. Yet over time, Emily's assets are growing, generating more income and building true, lasting wealth, while Mark's high income is consumed by his liabilities. Who is truly wealthier? Emily, because her money is working for her, building assets that pay her rather than being drained by liabilities. So how do you begin building a personal portfolio of assets, even if you feel like you're starting from zero? The first step is to stop the bleeding. Identify your liabilities and create a plan to aggressively pay them down, especially high-interest consumer debt. Every dollar you free up from interest payments is effectively a dollar you're earning back, which can then be redirected towards assets. Next, start small, but start consistently. You don't need a massive amount of capital to begin. Invest in yourself. This is often the most powerful asset. Acquire new skills, pursue education, or develop expertise that increases your earning potential or allows you to create valuable products or services. Your human capital is an incredible asset. Automate savings and investments. Set up automatic transfers from your paycheck into a low-cost index fund or ETF. Even $50 or $100 a month consistently invested can grow into a significant sum over time due to the magic of compounding. These investments are partial ownership in companies, and they can pay you dividends or appreciate in value. Explore side hustles that can become businesses. Can you turn a hobby into a small service you offer? Can you create a digital product that solves a problem for others? Can you start a small online store selling something you're passionate about? These are all seeds of businesses which are assets that can pay you. Consider real estate when ready. While a primary residence is often a liability, carefully chosen rental properties can be powerful assets, generating consistent income and appreciating over time. This is a bigger step, but one to consider as you build capital. This chapter is meant to stir a profound realization within you. It's an invitation to stop draining your future income into things that don't grow in value, into possessions that simply consume your resources. Instead, it's a call to action to begin investing in the tools of wealth building, to acquire those assets that will consistently put money in your pocket, freeing you from the endless cycle of payments. The truth behind the illusion is clear. True financial freedom isn't about how much you earn or how many shiny objects you accumulate. It's about how much you own that truly pays you. It's about building a portfolio of assets that work tirelessly on your behalf, providing you with income, security, and ultimately the freedom to live life on your own terms. Make the conscious choice starting today to prioritize assets that pay you over liabilities that drain you. Your future self will thank you for it. Thank you so much for listening. What you've just heard is only a part of the full journey. Just 7 chapters out of the complete 15. And yet you've already discovered insight stories and powerful truths that have the potential to shift your mindset and inspire real action. But there's more. So much more. The remaining chapters hold deeper revelations, untold lessons, and the final message that ties it all together. Don't stop here, because the best part is still ahead. To experience the full transformation, grab your complete copy of the book. It's available now on Amazon in ebook, paperback, and hardcover formats. Just check the description below. You'll find the link waiting for you. Whether you prefer reading digitally, flipping real pages, or gifting it to someone who truly needs it, the full book is ready for you. This is more than just a book, it's a blueprint for the next step in your journey. So go ahead, click the link, and don't let the story end here. Until next time, stay inspired, stay intentional, and keep growing.